Oh, I thought I didn't have my mic on.
Not the first time and won't be the last.
Ladies and gentlemen, to this week's edition of the Crosswords. I crossed my words on the crossroads here on Veterans Anonymous. I'm your host, Combat Cricket Jade Lopez, coming to you from Colorado, former MP or 31 global military police. Your best friend. Little time in Iraq.
You okay, Si?
Member of the Natty Guard. And my dog is still trying to kill me. More on that later. Miss Kittens.
I am Jenny. I am an Air Force veteran. I worked B1 and F-16 motors. I dabble in various crafty hobbies, and I make silly TikToks.
Dabble? You excel at a lot of, like, really good ones.
Uncle Si joining us.
Yeah, Uncle Si, sitting here in Des Moines, Iowa, the Crossroads of America, supposedly. Yeah, but I was Army vet, National Guard, Army Reserves, Individual Ready Reserves, Active Guard, Active Duty. Yeah, if the Army had it, did Korea twice, Kuwait twice, a little bit of time around here in the States. Worked on dozers, got to watch guys blow stuff up. That was fun.
Oh shit! Sorry. Coming to us. Not that spider. Coming from down under, Ducky.
Spit it out already. Okay, Ducky from did 13 years in Royal Australian Navy. Basically, just got out, coming up 4 years. Loved every minute of it until I basically went nuts. Deep depression, and they medically discharged me. So, but I'm happy now. I've got a great life and just trying to find the next home.
Right. Yeah, good luck on that, bro. Yeah.
What's wrong, Cricket?
I'm checking.
The Feagle has landed!
Yeah.
No, because I wasn't sure because I wasn't getting alerts and stuff like that we were actually broadcasting. So I was making sure, and then Feagle landed. So
Says we are, yeah.
I got the YouTube one.
Yeah, I haven't gotten I don't know. That's weird. Usually I get it by now.
Facebook and TikTok for Facebook.
Yeah,
okay.
Facebook and TikTok have been acting weird the last couple days.
Well, and in all honesty, my phone has been glitching. I'm not exactly sure what is
going on. It's because the new launch of 13.
It's no, it the screen flashes like I'm taking a screenshot. And if I have a video paused on it, when it does that glitch, it'll play the video without me touching it.
See, I don't know how many of you guys are old enough to remember when Al Gore supposedly invented the interwebs. Before that, the military had developed it already as a backup communication system. And then conveniently it gets switched to civilians. What better way to track people? You know, not that I'm wearing a tin hat or nothing, but just saying.
Well, no. So last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, I was asking Kittens about her Brooks shoes because I'm wanting to start to get my pace back. But because they're running shoes, I wasn't sure about getting that expensive shoe while I'm doing my walk into jog to get my pace back. And now all my YouTube and my Facebook ads are all about Brooks. And now, and StreamYard too. StreamYard's been doing that for a little bit as well. So it's just...
Yeah, I've gotten my Facebook on I've got the tablet, the laptop, and the phone, and all of a sudden now the account on my phone for Facebook is showing up stuff that I talk about when me and Felix are playing Call of Duty. Nothing I've mentioned on Facebook, nothing lives, nothing like that. You know, we're playing Call of Duty and we're talking about his Indian or something like that. Now I'm seeing ads for Indian and motorcycle helmets and stuff like that, you know?
Yeah, I did.
Actually,
I've done that with cameras too, because I was even just on a regular conversation, not on my phone. It was I think it was on Skype. That I was talking about I wanted to get a nice camera, just a nice a nice separate camera because I'm like really like photography, that maybe I could get back into that or whatever. And I got nothing but ads on every freaking thing about cameras. And I never even looked it up or Googled it, but I had just mentioned it in an off conversation.
Yep. Oh,
That is because we're all getting
They're
listened to
always
now.
listening.
Well, I know that my Alexa is listening.
oh yeah.
Lexer.
Alexa. Do they got a
Alexa,
do they got
Google.
do they got an Aussie version of Alexa? You know, like for the words and stuff like that, or
No, this is. I'm curious if she actually speaks with an Australian accent.
No, she doesn't. And if you just heard it, it was, I think you've got me confused with someone else.
Jeez, I'm a little jealous.
Just a tiny bit.
hi, Chris.
I've had way too much fun with that. I've started to put it in random places in the house. And because I've got the broadcast feature on my phone, I scare the hell out of my kids.
Yes. Technology used the way it should be.
Oh, yeah. Well, in saying that, last week I made mention of the scare night. It went off pretty well. I used a speaker, so a little Bluetooth speaker, and started playing Dingo Howls through the night. And because it was all pitch black, they were using headlamps and torches and things like that, and they could hear the dingo howl. And they're like, "Oh, what's that?" And then they saw the speaker, and they're like, "Oh, that's pretty cool." And then they saw the ketchup all over the ground and everything, and they're like, "Oh, okay, obviously there's a murder scene here." And then it got to a child's onesie that had been all torn up and red blood and everything else, and everyone is looking at it going, "That's graphic. The person that did this has got some real good skills." And just as I was starting to write things and everything, I jumped out from around the corner.
Do you have any pictures?
No, because it was too dark. It was way too dark. I couldn't actually see where I was walking half the time.
Did you take any pictures of yourself before you went?
No. It was more the fact of I was running a little late. I had the setup and everything going.
Fashionably late.
Oh no,
I always call it being fashionably on time.
No, I was about half an hour late for the procession, and my mate that was there had messaged me going, "Oh, yep, my first car has just arrived. It's my mum and dad and everything." And I'm like, "Yep, cool, okay." And then I had my old cams on as well, so you can imagine I blended in with the countryside very well.
Nice.
And unfortunately, I tried to hide my reflectors with black 100-mile-an-hour tape, so the same stuff they use on the NASCARs.
Yeah.
And because I was shining their lamp around, they actually got the reflection off of the 100-mile-an-hour tape.
Yeah,
so they spotted me.
You got to pick that dull 100-mile-an-hour tape, not the regular shiny kind of. Yeah.
Yeah. So from then I ended.
Cheery. It sounds eerie.
Actually, that sounds fun.
It kind of does.
I need one. I need one for the next one that we're planning.
Well,
but at the
okay.
moment,
there's an episode on a show here in the States with Tim Allen in it, where he's outdoor man.
Home Improvement.
No, the
newer one.
The newer one.
Yeah,
outdoor man, where he plants like a little GoPro trail camera on the Christmas tree and fucks with his grandson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, because he's watching his grandson shaking boxes, and he's like, "Hey, this is Santa. I'm watching you."
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, you know.
Yeah, that would be a bit like me Last Man Standing.
Yeah, Last Man Standing. There you go. Thank you, Mike.
This is more than a couple years ago. My mom has this stupid little mouse thing that she can talk to the tree, and tell it to do this Christmas song, and the lights will go and do it. This motherfucker was possessed because, and my sister, I believe my sister has a video of me screaming at the Christmas tree, telling him, "Mr. Mouse, shut the fuck up," because it wouldn't stop because the kids were little at that point, and this tree would not stop going off and playing music and flashing lights and stuff like that. And short of me climbing because she puts it in like her bay window area, and all the plugs, of course, are at the back of the tree, right? So
Oh, of
instead,
course.
but short of me actually like climbing under or around this damn tree, I'm just like yelling at this damn because it's a mouse on the little thing that it responds to what song you want. So I'm like, shut up, Mr. Mouse.
My mom, I went to their house one time for Christmas and they got a new tree. It was pre-lit and it came with a remote. And my mom is sitting there trying to figure out the remote. She's like, "Oh, wait, it does better lights. Here, hold on. Mike, what button is it?" He's like, "I don't know. You put the damn thing to. So I'm like, listen to my mom and dad. She's hitting buttons going, "Honest, it's better." And I'm just sitting there going, "Yeah, I'm petting your cat. I don't care."
My husband does that. He'll bring me something and be like, "How does it work?" I'm like, "This is the first time I've seen this. Why are you asking me?"
Yeah.
As if I can magically look at it and figured out how it worked. Like, no.
Yeah, Rob is that same way. Like, I've never seen this thing in my life. Here, like, how does this work? I don't know. We'll go somewhere. Neither one of us have ever been there. Where's the bathrooms?
I don't know.
We
Like,
just
why are
walked
you
into this-
asking me?
Why do you think I know?
Exactly.
It's just, I have the intuition that you don't. That like I know exactly where a bathroom might be placed in a place that I've never been before.
I had to rein in my sarcasm because people would ask me, and I there's no dumb questions. There's just some that are a little brighter than others, and my sarcasm would come out, and I couldn't help it. People are like, "Hey, do you know where this is?" "Yeah, it's over that way, down that way." I have no freaking clue. I hope they're still alive. I don't know. They might have went down a dead end dirt road. With Charles Manson. Who knows?
No, there was an issue with I believe it might have been Google Maps where it was glitching on this road and people were like driving into this field and getting stuck. And at the same time there was another one too that the like people have driven off of bridges that weren't complete because the map told them to go that way.
Okay, wait a minute.
Like,
I'm sorry. That's Darwinism at its finest right there. If you're driving and don't realize that the road and the bridge that you are on is about to end, you should not be driving.
Unfortunately, I believe the one that went off the bridge, it was at night and it was like an older couple.
Okay.
So,
It's still, I hate saying it. I've seen some elderly people driving. My mom and dad, it scares me that they still drive because my dad is one of these kind of people like, "Oh, look over there."
my dad drives the same way. Even like Rob was telling me, he's like, my dad's worse. So I was like, yeah, because what they do is they pay attention to everything but the flipping road.
Yeah, my dad's
They're always correcting.
My dad's like, "Why are you watching out the window and not looking at this?" I'm like, somebody's got to be watching the road, You're freaking not.
Who has seen the British commercial with the two couple? Like, there's a older couple in the car driving down a highway or something, and the old lady picks up a secondary steering wheel. So you've got the husband driving and then the secondary steering wheel, and they're looking next to them, and there's another car trying to pass them. And so the old lady is sitting there going, "La la, all good." And then she's look over and, "Yep, okay." And then she does this one. The guy in the car next to them has seen her do that.
Sounds like a very interesting story, Christine. She almost hit a train and not the train almost hitting her.
Okay, I'm sorry. That sounds like an interesting story, and I will reserve judgment until end of said story at that given time.
Well, and it's like my friend, which is B's godmother. She's just like this. She calls me, and I'm like, "What's up?" And she's like, "This motherfucking deer just rammed my car," and I'm like, okay, the deer hit your car or you hit a deer? She's like, no, she fucking hit me. Like, cause she lived out in like, she lived out not west, out in the east. So the plains and stuff like that. It's like you can kind of see the wildlife and stuff like that. But this motherfucker, like, seriously, hit the back end of her Jeep, rammed into her.
I've had 3 kangaroos hit me.
Kangaroos are like deer of Australia. Yeah, yeah, I've heard that. A buddy of mine, he hit one and unfortunately it died, and it had a joey in the pouch, and he was heartbroken over that. Yeah.
Yeah, see, that's what I was thinking. I was like, it was an old one that Ducky was talking about.
Yeah, that
I
one
haven't
is. Yeah, it's
seen
an
it.
old 80s. Yeah. But no, with mine, I've hit 3 kangaroos. Because of my outback. So because I ended up working on the sheep station for 6 months, I ended up knowing how to dispose of a kangaroo safely and calmly, and also without giving it too much pain. So humanely.
Nice. Yeah.
And I've always got, if I'm driving across a long dark road or whatever, I've always got a blade in the car ready to go just in case I hit anything that I need to humanely dispose of. And driving across the Nullarbor, I ended up having one hit me. I saw it coming. I had no way of slowing down in time, but where it actually hit me was my wheel.
Oh.
It hit the wheel, so my front driver's side wheel, it's come in and hit it. It then ended up getting looped in between the wheel and the back mudguard, got flipped and broke its neck, and then got underneath the tire and rolled out because I hit it.
Nice.
Yeah, it was well and truly gone by the time I stopped, went over. I had my eldest in the car. I had my better half in the car. She heard it. She didn't know what was going on. And I've just got to go and dispose of an animal. She's like, okay. And I've gone, don't let Maddie turn around. She'll freak out because of what I've got to do. I end up going to the back of the car, grabbing a pair of overalls that I had and my blade. And my better half has gone, what do you have to do? And I've gone, I've got to kill it. I've actually got to drag it off the road because it's sitting in the middle of the road. I'm not going to leave an animal like that because it was about 6 foot in height. So it was a fairly substantial animal. And where I was, it was called the Nullarbor Plains. And the Nullarbor has got the longest straight stretch of road in Australia, and I believe the world. It's 90 miles dead straight.
Wow, nice.
Dead straight. So you're driving and there's no turning or anything else. So there's so many crashes on a dead straight road. So I've hit this kangaroo. I've had to go out, overalls on, break the neck and pull it off to the side and leave it. 3 weeks later, because I marked the spot on the GPS, 3 weeks later I was coming back home from Adelaide, going back to Perth where I was living at that stage, and I found the kangaroo, and it had been torn up, and the big wedge-tailed eagles, all of the animals that were around had actually eaten it. So,
hey, it's the cycle of life, you know.
Yeah, and that's the good thing. Like the wedge-tailed eagles, I think are amazing here in Australia because their wingspan can be up to 15 feet.
Holy crap on a
Is
cracker,
that
bro.
like a vulture?
Tip to tip. Yeah. It's almost like, yeah.
Because I've never seen a vulture until we went out to the West Coast in last year in summer of 2020. Wow.
Yeah.
Well, over a year ago now. And it was like, those freaking birds are huge and they're circling. And like Rob's just like, yeah, those are vultures. It's like, they're fucking huge.
Yep.
Never knew.
The wedge-tailed eagle. Yeah. The wedge-tailed eagle is our vulture of Australia. And it is massive. It is massive, and we've got so many around. It's not funny, but they are such a beautiful creature as well. When I was working on the sheep station, a guy was the pilot up in the air, and he was at 12,000 feet, and he over the radio has turned around and gone, "Holy F, bird strike, bird strike, bird strike, I'm going down."
Oh no!
Yeah.
A wedge-tail eagle was at 15,000 feet, came down and hit the plane.
Oh man!
And he's gone, "I'm going down. I've got no hope in hell of getting away with this." And yeah, sure enough, he was able to land safely, but the damage to the plane was a complete write-off. So they had to bring in a new plane for him.
See, that's another reason I don't like flying. There's just too many things up there.
Yep. And that's the thing is, like, you'd never think of, okay, 12,000 feet, that's fairly good. You're safe. Nope, here's these bastards, 15,000 feet just circling.
That's
So,
Well,
But yeah,
that's like I watched a TikTok. It's like why someone had asked why people who in helicopters wear helmets, and they're pretty much it's because, well, unlike an airplane, they're flying way lower, which has more chances of debris and or things, birds and stuff like that flying in and hitting them in the head. It's like thinking about it, it's like, okay, so being up that high, that bird was just circling like crazy, no fucks to give. That's insane.
But then also we've got helicopter pilots that do mustering of cattle as well here. So because our farms can, or I made mention a couple of weeks back of the largest farm in Australia, and that's 5 million acres.
Wow.
That's it. Whoa. Holy.
Yeah, that's unbelievable. That's like huge.
Yeah.
Because I know that they would do it with like the wild hogs around here, or down in the south. So wrangle them with helicopters, or they'll shoot them from the helicopter.
Yep, absolutely. Well, that's exactly it. Is up in the Northern Territory, northern Western Australia, they've got all of their cattle farms, and they're Brahmas. So big Brahma cattle, and they end up going out in the helicopters, and they actually go and go mustering that way instead of sending out everything else.
That reminds me of the old Marlon Perkins Wild Call of America. Remember those? Where like he would be up in the helicopter and he'd be like, "Okay, now Bob is going to attempt to neutralize this water buffalo and castrate him." You know, and Bob's like, "What? I'm going to get your ass out of the helicopter on the ground with me." You know?
Yeah. So, and that's the thing is, like, there's so many things that nowadays, like with technology and everything, it's amazing what we are able to do. Hey, John.
Hi, Kyle.
Gave me a good chuckle. I almost messed up my eyeshadow because he just hit me with something that was random.
Hi, Kyle.
Not the first time.
That's what she
No,
said.
he does send me some random things. He made me laugh today because I really needed it. Like, I don't know if y'all can see it.
Did you get a hickey?
I made a post on Facebook about I made a post on Facebook the other day about making fun of, or not making fun of, but I told Tuco that his beard he looks like a bat dog, and in this post I was like, makes me want to throat punch her. He literally throat punched me today. I have 2 scratches on my neck that I'm like was trying to show you because he literally punched me in the throat with his one front paw that he has.
Yeah.
Oh no.
My dog literally is still trying to kill me, even though this little shithead can barely really move right now.
I got you. When the first year I lived in this house, I only had one cat at the time, and I used to leave the window open a little crack, and he was like sniffing out like this right by my bed because my nightstand was right next to it. And I hear him, and it wakes me up, and I look at him, and I touch him just like this. He goes total full-on spaz cat mode. Literally hits me in the eye with his paw. I'm screaming. I got a roommate at the time that's crashing for a couple of days. He wakes up. He's like, "What's going on?" I'm like, "My cat fucking punched me." And he goes, "What?" And he looks at my eye. He goes, "Holy fuck, dude, you got a black eye." I'm like, "Yeah, my cat punched me." It gets better. It gets better. Wait. The next day, I had to go to the VA for a freaking yearly physical.
Oh my goodness.
Oh, no.
So I show up to the VA for my physical. The nurse is looking at me doing blood pressure. She looks up at me. She looks at my eyes. She's like, "How'd that happen?" I'm like, "Well," and she's like,
what had happened was.
and she's like, do you feel safe at home?" I'm like, "Yeah, I'm never touching my cat again in the middle of the night, though."
His cat code. Blink twice and safe.
Yeah. Well, and now I got back to one cat, and it's even bigger kitty. Oh, dude, those shirts look awesome, Kyle. But yeah, so now I got a part puma, and
He's been attacked on air.
Yeah.
You can even see him like.
Yeah.
when 26 pounds of cat wants attention, it gets attention.
And when it don't, it don't. Kittens.
I'm sorry.
Stop yawning.
I'm tired.
It's only 10 o'clock in the morning.
Not here.
I was gonna say, because he's talking to us from the future.
The future.
And I was gonna tell Christine because she was asking, "Is it easy being green?" It's weird. I'm trying to keep my like an emerald color. I know that she's not here, but like with the hot water and stuff like that, I got to be really careful because it can turn like booger green really easy. So.
Trust me, I've had to, or my daughter's hair is, whenever it's the school holidays, she changes the color. And the amount of colors over the last 3 years that I've seen, it's gone from, the first time was blonde, and then she wanted pink in it, and then it went red, and then it went bright iridescent green, and then it's just been damaged so badly that it's just changed color permanently. So
No.
I used to do that when I was a young pretty boy. I had blood red hair. I had total dark Johnny Cash black hair.
We can see the red here. It's just the rest has gone white.
Oh no, that's the tobacco stain from smoking. Everything else is peppered.
With the hair color that I use, it's actually it's not permanent, so it's not really doing any. It of course is coloring the hair, but it deposits it into the hair, pretty much like how conditioner sets in and stuff like that. But it has the color, and with mine, I haven't bleached it since last year. As you can see the grow out here. So what I do, like I said, with hot water, it rinses out a lot faster. Like the more times that you wash it and stuff like that. But like I said, I have to be careful with this green because there's yellow undertones to it from the bleach. That it can be kind of gross looking. Because I've had it. It was pink.
It'd be perfect for Halloween. You could go as like Boogerhead or some,
Boogie.
No, well, it would probably be better if she goes as Sally out of Nightmare Before Christmas.
That would be a fun one.
Yeah.
Guess who I'm dressing up as for the
I've been wanting my little to be Jack Skellington forever. I wonder if he will do it this year.
There you go.
Perfect. Yeah, or if you've got 3 younger ones, get them to be what are the 3
Lock,
that go in?
Shock, and Barrel.
I have
Yes.
3 boys. They're not little, but
Get your husband to be Jack, and then you get Lock, Shock, and Barrel.
Rob's gonna love you.
Rob's gonna be like, "What? You
Yeah,
want
he
me
doesn't
to do
dress up.
what?"
He doesn't
Yeah.
dress up. He doesn't do all that. Like the decorations and stuff. He just doesn't ask anymore. As far as
Or
like
what you
dressing,
could do is you
as
could
far as
talk
dressing
to,
up.
or what you could do is talk to OG Boomer. He's got the Jack Skellington onesie.
That's true. I've seen that. I want one.
Well, if somebody has one that's available, and somebody didn't just make one, so it's out there somewhere where you can buy it.
Yeah, exactly. But no, what I'm looking at is for the next scare, we're going to, because it's the Volkswagen Beetle Association of South Australia, I'm looking at trying to get the front of the Beetle, because one is green, and we're going to make it look like the plant out of Little Shop of Horrors.
Oh yeah, nice,
Wow. That would be epic.
nice.
So I'm going to have to get my sewing on
Yeah.
to make the jaws, make the cardboard tongue, and everything. So,
Nice.
and
Sewing on.
And that's the thing, is it's going to end up having the guy turning around going, "Feed me," from the speaker in the front. And so I'm going to be there with the rope pulling on the...
Does that involve glitter? Because that is the gift
Yes.
that keeps giving.
Yes.
Oh God, Michael, not that one. Not that one.
No, nobody wants to see that, Mike. No.
I was just gonna say, did he send you guys some pictures?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. Because
He's going to do a Borat.
pretty much.
Get one of those like bodysuits, that like a purple bodysuit, and then wear that on the outside, so you're fully covered and you're not scarring.
Oh, like one
and
of those,
everything
like,
is
more
yeah,
suits,
and that way
whatever they're called.
everything is contained.
Yeah, but is it worse to have a little
Okay.
a little spillage out of the
No.
slip, or is it
We don't
better
need
to
spillage.
is it better to have it all tucked in and fluffy underneath?
Better to have it tucked in, because
Hang
nobody
on,
wants to see that.
You've all seen the bodysuit of the old guy. There's a bodysuit out there that is that is bathers, that is got the male chest, and it's all hairy and a six-pack and everything
I
else.
want one of those, and I want to wear it to a pool on a military installation. But my
Yes.
husband won't let me. He's like, "Why?" And I'm like, "Because I would rock that
Because
shit. I
why?
would own
Because
it."
we fucking can.
Exactly. Because why not?
Exactly.
Oh,
I was like, "They're gonna talk about me anyways. I might as well have fun while I'm giving up."
Exactly.
Oh, exactly.
Yes,
Jenny,
Jesse,
my
that-
parents used to do this haunted house. Like I was still, I think it was like in high school when they started doing it. My mom had the haunted porch, and then it got bigger and bigger and bigger. And then we pretty much would have people go into the backyard, through like the covered patio area, out and back around, and it was all these different like rooms and stuff like that, themes. We had Freddy and I don't think we had Jason. Or no, we do have a Jason. Jason, Michael. Or no, we don't have a Michael. But I have Reagan, that she sits up and she's got the pee soup all over her gown and her head spins and she talks. It's like, and we had a TV that was glitching and stuff like that. Like we went all out, and then just
See,
pretty much my mom and dad are just like, too much effort now. You kids are pretty much gone, and like can't guarantee that y'all will help with building or running it, so they don't do it anymore. We used to have neighbors that used to live in the neighborhood that would come from their new neighborhoods to come see it.
Yeah, my mom scarred me. I remember being in 3rd grade. I don't know how old that is. And
She was jumping up and down on Dad.
She drugged me to haunted houses, dude, here in Iowa. And like here in Iowa, we actually, like Mike was saying, they have barns that are 2-level haunted houses that literally will scare the bejeebus out of you. I'm not even joking, bro. Like they have people with fake chainsaws and just, a quarter cow that they huck up and they got real pig blood all over a haunted house. I'm in 3rd grade seeing this stuff and I'm like, you know.
Actually, I've got a good idea.
1,000, but we did have to tell the kids because we would not jump out at anybody because we did not want any type of lawsuit or anything because it was my parents' backyard.
I got kicked out of a haunted house one time here in Iowa because as we were walking by like the rabid ape cage, right? He reached out through the bars like this, and reflex took over, and I went through the bars and punched him right. He pulled that mask off, holding his nose. He's like, "What the hell, dude?" I'm like, "Hey, sorry, man, reflex."
Actually, I want to do Psycho one time. With the knife coming through, like just having the knife.
Yeah.
And the silhouette just coming towards you.
Then another time we were a haunted house, we had to walk down into the basement to like go to the upper level. And as we're walking down the steps, they would reach between the steps and like grab your ankle. And I fucking stomped on the dude's wrist, and all I hear is this cry from underneath the steps. And then all of a sudden, guys come out to escort me out of the haunted house. They're like, "Nah, you can't. Nope, you can't come back in." So,
well, and see, like my sister took me to a bunch of haunted houses a couple years ago. Never been to them. Don't care for them because a lot of them are like clown themed now. But the ones that she took me to didn't really have too big of a clown theme. But I keep my hands like this while I'm walking through because and they think I'm like so scared that I'm holding my hands. No, I'm actually holding my hands because I do this.
Yeah.
Or this.
Yeah.
So well, I took because one of them like ran at me and I went to push him, but I like held my hands back and they're like, "Whoa, didn't expect that from you."
Yeah, me and a buddy, when I was going to college, we went to a haunted house that was supposed to be like the scariest one ever, and in Iowa anyway area, and we're walking through it. Oh, I know. We're walking through it, and all of a sudden these dudes jumped out. We're like totally lit. Like we'd gone through like 2 cases of beer before the haunted house, and so we're walking through this thing, stumbling dang near and shit. And these guys jump out, and it spooked us. I'm not gonna lie, and we haul ass running down a dark freaking tunnel, and we literally knocked down a wall of their haunted house. It like went into another area, and we're like, "Oh fuck!" Me and him are laying on the ground, going, "Sorry, guys," Yeah, I just stay away from.
We did have one little girl with like my parents. Like keep saying by bringing up my parents' haunted house because, like I said, we tell them when they're going in because they get scared. It's a haunted house. They think people are going to jump out at them. So we're out in front and saying nothing's going to jump out. We do not jump out at people and stuff like that. Everything that moves is not real. Like they're dummies, they're props and stuff like that. Like I said, the Reagan like sits up and like twists her head and stuff. But everything that moves isn't real. And there was this little one that got so brave. She was so brave. She's like, "Okay, nothing's going to jump out at me. Nothing's going to jump out at me." Got brave, went back. And I think my like dad was coming out to the front. And because he like came around the corner or something and she saw his shadow, screams bloody murder, drops her candy bag and runs away from her parents. Out the front door, and we're just like, "We gotta scream it!" We're just like, and this is the bad part is like we can't go chasing her down the street with her bag of candy, trying to give her candy. She's trying to run away from us at that point.
Yeah,
her parents are just kind of like, "Come back,
please, come back."
Right? We're like, well, because we told them we're like, we can't, we want to help you catch her. But, she's afraid of us. She thinks we're chasing her, So we're like, "Here's your candy. Go get your kid."
we used to,
but she did. She put on a brave face. She tempted, and she didn't even get into the haunted house.
Another good one that's fun to do in like public haunted houses is you take a can of like cream of mushroom soup and put it in a baggie. And then when you near the end of it, you squeeze the baggie like, "Oh my God, that was so gross," like you're gagging. and people that are in line to get into the haunted house will like start doing the chain reaction. Yeah, we have
Sorry.
fun. We make our own fun in Iowa. What's that?
Baby Yoda.
Baby Yoda.
And sleepy Baby Yoda.
He had chicky nuggies.
Mhm.
Yeah.
No, he was playing with that silver ball too much.
I swear, I keep freezing or y'all keep freezing. I don't know what's going on. I think
It's my internet. You've got to remember.
Well, no,
I've got to go backwards in
everybody
time.
is at the same time, so I think it's
I'm
my
freezing a little too. So my internet's not the greatest today. I already called and complained.
Yeah, I've got my
When I got
my router is on the inside of that wall.
My little's on his internet right now, and I don't know if Rob's home yet.
I thought my internet was bad until I started, I'm lucky if I get like 5 megabytes for upload and download and stuff. It like what takes people like 2 hours to download on like for PlayStation takes me like 15 hours.
Mm.
It's like, how?
Well, that's the thing is, I was going to go for a walk today with my phone. I was going to try to go for a walk in the local area, trying to find koalas and wildlife and things like that.
I saw that, and I warned you to be very careful because basically everything in Australia that's not a human tries to kill you.
Welcome to most animals. Your cat for one.
No, you live with one.
Well, okay. Point taken.
No, well, that's the thing is, the animals that are coming out now, they're actually the wildlife that's starting to come out because it started to be spring here. Our koalas have started to come out, and they're coming out of their little hollows. And that's what I want to try to be able to show people. These little drop bears aren't coming out.
And that's unusual for this time of year?
Yes. They're usually out and freely moving around by this time of the year.
I was just going to ask that. It was like, are they normally like all the way out by now?
Yeah, they're usually out. The weather has really been weird this year.
Hi, John.
The weather at the moment is really weird. It should be better than what it is, and it's just odd.
I blame Greta Thunberg.
Yeah, the little kid that has to read a news release. She can't make her own speeches.
Has her mom and dad, actors and actress, feed her lines and dress her. Mm-hmm. Oh, and I hate this. She's got a disability. So she's basically being used. She's like borderline autistic, and she's being used.
Yep. And that's the worst thing about it. They haven't released all of the information about it. They are trying to keep the disability a secret.
Why?
Yet they're trying to make her...
Because they'll go to jail. No, not jail. Prison.
They should. Them both parents should for letting her. They're letting their kid be used. You might as well sell her to the mafia to let her get sent to China to become a hooker or some stuff.
And how he got banned was.
Well, funnily enough, going back to.
Kittens, if you will help me, like popping up with comments and stuff like that. I'm getting tagged and stuff, and I'm not seeing. Like I said, I don't know if it's my internet.
Well, and Ducky, I think you'll get a kick out of this. Mike could probably back me up on this. Down in Florida, if it gets cold, the iguanas that they have go into dormancy and freeze, and they'll fall out of the trees. And so, like, you'll wake up and have like frozen iguanas in your yard. And people call it the southern chicken, I guess, because it tastes good. Yeah.
Well, they've got 4 drumsticks.
5 if you count the tail.
Okay, so what I was
That's a
telling
bit
you,
like our goannas here in Australia.
I thought it was in our comments that I wasn't seeing. So
Oh.
That's what I was looking for. I was like,
Okay.
did I miss something? And then I clicked it. And I
Oh.
was like, oh, I will read that after.
Don't get Jen started about moving.
Yeah.
But yeah, we move next month.
For sure, or is
For sure.
when the movers were supposed to come in and
They come Monday at 10 a.m. to come evaluate how much crap we have. And then they're supposed to be packing us up October 5th through the 7th and then loading our stuff onto the truck on the 8th. And then we'll probably be leaving Vegas the 12th or the 13th.
it's going to be a nice little drive from Vegas to Virginia.
It's going to be a long one.
Yeah.
With a little one in the car.
With the child.
Thankfully, the child travels pretty well.
And 2 dogs and 2 cats.
I'm putting the cats and the child in the car with my husband. So I have the 2 dogs. I'm just going to throw on an audiobook and I'll be fine. Him, not my problem.
I agree with this post.
I look at it this way. I spend almost every waking moment with her. It's his turn. Have fun. Okay. Good luck.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, and then kind of was like how I was this weekend with Tuco, because the stuff that's like Tuco pretty much, we're trying to get him even out with his pain meds and his steroids and stuff like that. His back legs are not completely functioning. Like, they're not paralyzed, but he's not fully using them like you would want him to be. So as far as moving him and stuff like that, he is about my size as far as size goes. He's probably about 50 pounds, but he's still like my size, and he doesn't understand that I'm trying to pick him up, maneuver him and trying my best not to hurt him in
Right.
doing so. That, like, it's all day. It's all day, and it goes into the night. That it's just, I am taking a break. That's it. That's it. That's it. And then, like, I'm supposed to do all this. I'm like, yeah,
Yeah.
you are, because I'm not right now. But yes, so like I said, I actually called the doctor yesterday, and this chick just kind of like brushed me off. She's like, "Oh, the doctor's busy, so I'll have him call you back." He hasn't called me back.
Uh-oh.
So I don't know where exactly we stand, because the last time he told me to call in, the lady that answered, she asked all the questions related to the doctor, even though he was going into a appointment, and he was able to say, "Hey, yeah, it sounds good. Continue the meds. Continue doing this, and call Monday, Tuesday." So don't know now. So now I'm gonna like call in the morning and see, like, what the fuck, chick?
They're
Did
not.
you
They're not.
even get my message, doc? Like, I'm a concerned pet parent. Don't please don't make it sound like or think that I don't care.
Yeah. Right.
Because yes, it's a lot. It really is. It's been a hard couple weeks with him, and like, kittens, like, you have the biggest freaking heart, doll, because you're gonna be dealing with all kinds of animals in different types of situations. That's just like, hands down to you, sister, because I couldn't
handle it fine unless it's my own. Like, Korg has that jaw issue where he can't open his mouth all the way, so he's on steroids for it. And I was worried that it was going to be like cancer. I thought maybe he had an infected tooth, and that's why he wasn't opening his mouth. Like, I was scared. So when it's my own pets, I'm a wreck. Other people's animals, I can manage it.
Good. Glad you're starting to feel better. Michael, I hope you start feeling better if you're not already.
Well, also on Saturday, I ended up getting the first jab for Pfizer. So
headset. It keeps disconnecting.
When did you get it?
On Saturday, I ended up getting the Pfizer vaccine.
you
Jab
feeling?
1. I haven't got a third head yet. And coffee comes out her nose. Yay! No, both my partner and myself, we ended up getting the jab. That way we can travel interstate. Because we've got friends that are still over in the West. She's going through a fairly hard time. And we want to send the partner and the eldest daughter across to her to see the eldest daughter, because the friend over in the West has a 13-year-old as well as my daughter that used to dance together. And they grew up, and now that when we moved, the other daughter ended up leaving dancing and went to taekwondo. So, and it's even funnier because the friend has a boyfriend, and the mother's turned around and said, "Oh, what would happen if this happened?" She's gone, "It's okay, I've warned him. If he touches me the wrong way, I'm going to kick the shit out of him." I do taekwondo.
Yes.
So we've got no problem with the friend's daughter, but it's more the fact that we haven't seen them for 3 years, and you can tell that my daughter needs to see her friends. So,
well, that's understandable. I have no problem with people getting it. I have a problem with being the people who don't want to get it being forced to.
True.
That's what I have a problem with.
Yeah, it should be a thing like of, all right, you have a choice of having the booster shot or you don't need to. Here in Australia, they've turned around, they've gone, it's mandated, or it's a law has been passed that if you are driving interstate, so as a truck driver or as a delivery driver, if you are crossing the state lines, that you need to either A, have the vaccine, or B, have a negative test within 72 hours before 72 hours prior to you crossing the border. So you basically go get a negative test, and then 72 hours you can go across the border.
I have a question. I haven't actually looked this up, but getting tested, you have to pay for that, right?
Nope.
You don't there? Because I heard that you do here.
Some places offer free testing. Some states offer free testing. It really depends. Like some colleges are offering free testing. It's weird.
My son has to get tested on Friday because they're getting ready to go to outdoor lab. And like I've mentioned this before, it's like they wanted like 24 or 26 chaperones, which is insane to me. But in the past, it's because we've had high schoolers be volunteers at outdoor lab that parents really didn't have to go. But I'm guessing because of COVID that they're not letting the high schoolers go, and they're asking parents to go. So not only parents are asked to pay $150 each to attend, but they're also asking them to go get a test and be fully vaccinated in order to go on this field trip and be chaperones. And now they're like scrambling trying to find chaperones because there's that hesitancy of like, who is seeing this status, and they're like, oh no, it's just the school nurse. The school nurse is the only one that's going to know. But it's at the same time, it's like everybody else on the field trip knows because you're there.
The price alone would be a no-go for me. Like, you want me to spend $150 for this? I'll pull my kid out of school for the day and make a volcano in the backyard.
The students are actually $250 each.
I would not pay for that.
It's $250 to send them on the field trip. I will pay it because I know it was the best time ever. That is what makes 6th grade is outdoor lab for us here. Because you're like going out into the mountains, you're tracking. They finally brought back archery and BB guns and rock climbing and stuff like that. They brought all that back. So that's worth it to me. and my son is actually really excited about it.
Cool.
So it's worth it to me. It was
Yeah.
worth $150 for me to go with him, even though he's like, "Mom, please don't go."
Don't embarrass me, Mom.
Duh. But it would have been worth the 150 for me to go, until they were like, "Well, you got to do this, this, and this," and like, and as far as I know, testing costs. The jab doesn't, but the testing does, and that's
Yeah.
where they're trying to kind of skirt that line of, "Oh, if you just get the shot." And I know that this is very controversial and stuff like that. Like I said, like I'm pro-choice.
Mm.
Well,
I
give us the choice of doing so. It is a
Yeah.
personal thing, and it should always be a personal thing.
I'm
Absolutely.
I don't
I'm
see why there's such a problem with personal choice.
I'm gonna quote our grand president, Sleepy Joe Biden. All I'm gonna say on political stuff is when he came out in his speech in front of America and said we had to vaccinate the unvaccinated to protect the vaccinated from the unvaccinated. If that's not shady right there, like, wait a minute, you're vaccinated, I'm not, but you want me to get a shot because your vaccination doesn't work. What? No. That's all I'm going to say about it, and personal choice.
Well, and if they're standing up to you, spread your feet, yelling at a bunch of sixth graders.
Yeah, that's the thing is here in Australia we've actually got what is called Medicare, and Medicare is our public health system. So basically, if we've got any serious injuries or serious medical issues and things like that, Medicare takes care of it. We all get a card whenever for each person that's born, they end up having a card, and it all gets into a family card. So I've actually got 6 on mine because myself and my 4 kids as well as my partner. So if we end up having a broken leg or a medical issue, so if it's cancer or if we've got operations that are required, things like that, we can go through the public system. It's slow, but we end up getting operated on and we end up don't having to pay.
Right.
But then you've also got the private health system. So if you pay privately, you've got access to private hospitals, you've got access to private doctors, nurses, things like that. So you end up getting seen a lot quicker, and they put you in and they get you out as soon as you want.
Nice.
So and then Medicare at the moment, that's how a lot of the testing is done. So you hand over your Medicare card, they take a scan of it, and then they end up doing the, I can smell that. Or the blood tests and things like that, and then they end up taking that away. So that in one aspect is really good for us here in Australia because we don't have the fright of big medical bills that you guys do.
I don't have medical bills. Between my health insurance, with Matt's health insurance that I get from him and the VA, I don't.
Well,
because thankfully my C-section would have cost me $38,000.
Yeah, so that's exactly it. Is with mine, it was the fact of with all 4 kids, we were in the public health system and did not have to pay at all. Yes, I've got my white card for.
Hey, sweetie.
I've got my white card for my ankle surgeries, for my back and my mental issues. So, and also the good thing with the good thing with the white card is if I have to send my children or my partner off to a psychologist or psychiatrist, so for any mental issues, the DVA will actually pick that up as well.
Nice.
That's really cool.
That's because I served over 12 months internationally, and that is like that is Australia wide. So
Right.
I can be living in New South Wales, have my daughter have a mental breakdown to the point where she can't go, she can't get out of bed, everything else. I can then turn around and go and ring up and go, yep, there we go. Off you go to a doctor. So
Nice.
Yeah, TRICARE's taking care of us pretty well too.
Yeah,
They're-
TRICARE. I was still like able to like because my TRICARE covered 100% 6 to 8 months after my deployment, so it covered my C-section, thankfully. And then I ended up having half my thyroid removed a couple weeks after that, which fell under the timeline for TRICARE. So I would have been at hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt for medical bills that I had no choice of.
Right.
I like this baby is coming, but I'm not. My hips weren't wide enough, or like failure to progress, I think it was. And the medical finding, I read my medical file on that because I was working at that hospital afterwards, like a couple years later, or no, a year later. And I was reading my medical file, and it's just like findings: male infant.
could not fit my fist.
Yeah, it's like medical findings, male infant. I'm like, what the fuck? But yeah, they thought it was super funny. But like, yeah, with like TRICARE and stuff like that, the VA, and then like because it's my son is still my dependent because we're not married, so he's covered under Medicaid because of my disability is low income. So like with him and myself, like we're good, we're covered, we're solid, and then the two older boys are covered under Rob's insurance. So that he
Not,
pays for.
not married, so you're saying there's a chance.
Hey, I'm not married.
All right, Dumb and Dumber. So you're saying there's a chance.
Well, you know the sad thing, I would probably lick the
chance.
I would probably lick the solid ice pole and go. I can't get my tongue off.
Oh, I went a completely different direction with that. But you're talking about a Christmas story, right? Please be a Christmas story. No.
I was talking about when Dumb and Dumber are on the ski lift and
the ski lift. Okay.
Okay,
Well,
yeah.
on a Christmas story, the kid gets his tongue stuck to the pole. So that's what I was like, okay. I forgot about Dumb and Dumber where he does that.
Mhm.
More people need to forget about that movie.
Unfortunately, it's one of those movies that's always going to be around. It's a bit like Rocky Horror Picture Show.
Well, it's kind
That's
it,
a classic.
it's yeah.
It's
the-
a cult.
Like, it's a cult.
Yeah, the Dumb and Dumber are those movies that are just fun to watch and laugh. It's like back in the old days, the Three Stooges.
Mm.
You know, it's
Absolutely.
the Keystone Cops. It made no sense, but it was funny. And yeah, you know, sometimes you just got to watch a movie and laugh your freaking ass off.
Yeah, well, that's the thing is I've watched the entire series over the last 2 weeks of NCIS.
Which version? The Louisiana, LA?
The original.
Kittens, if you will, run the ad. And Uncle Si, what time is it?
Roll that beautiful beard footage. It just worked out. My bad.
Yeah, as foolish as we are. Oh yeah, we danced till the sun came up. Oh yeah, we danced till the sun came up.
Ah.
So yeah, with the beard barbecue sauce, there's still a lot of stuff available. Go to the website. He had to make a new tiki-taki. It's beard barbecue sauce 2. Because he got banned. Dude, No. But his first account got banned on TikTok for playing a video game, and they think he's like a minor now. So he's got his other one going. But yeah, he's got the coffee seasonings, the shirts. The trailer is totally done. He's picking it up, I think, in October or November. You know, yeah. Them hats, I got to get on there and get me one of them hats. Those things look cool. Yeah, I wasn't sure at first either, Mike. But yeah, I got to get me some of that coffee and see what it tastes like on chicken nuggies. So far, everything he makes tastes great on chicken nuggets. But yeah, so he's just, he's kicking it up there in the Black Hills, making sauce. He got expanded into another business, which is going to lead probably to more places out there in the Rapid City area. So he's handling business.
Definitely.
But he got banned, like I said, on TikTok. He can't do the one account's totally basically gone. The other one he can't do live on, and then Facebook banned him for something that came up like 3 years ago. So,
and the worst thing is it's so expensive just to send over here to Australia.
Oh, it's crazy. Yeah, we talked about like you and Digger and stuff. Me and him were trying to figure out how to send you guys some stuff, and we were like, what? It's insane. And yeah, if anybody has any questions about smoking meat or marinating meat or doing a barbecue or anything like that, hit Felix up. Like 90% of the time, unless he's busy, he'll answer his phone or his text like that. He's awesome. He's got a lot of good videos on there of how to do stuff. He's smoked cheese. He's smoked cream cheese. He's done I think he freaking 120 or 130 pound hog one time. He's pretty good at what he does. And he's a nice guy. Even being an Air Force vet, he's a nice guy.
No, I just had a bird hit the window.
Oh, that's bad luck.
that's
some
the
salt
thud
over your
I heard, and
shoulder.
I'm like, the thing is that I had the blinds down and everything, so they could see that it was a window, and they still fly under the bloody door.
Yeah, I've had that happen. We got a sliding glass door in my kitchen, and I'll be sitting there and I'll hear a thump, and I go look, and like there's a bird on the ground flopping around. Like, man, what the hell was that?
Yeah.
No, the only thing that runs into the doors around here is my toddler.
But that's usually funny when that happens.
I don't react because if we don't react, they don't cry. But Matthew will go, oh, and I'm like, oh, you done did it.
Yeah, you just kind of look at them and go.
You don't even.
You
don't react at all.
Don't react.
You
You
pretend
wait.
you didn't see it. Just look.
You
You
don't
just
react.
look the other
Wait.
way.
And then,
Yeah.
and if they react, when you don't react, then you react because it hurt.
Yeah.
The kids are made of rubber, man.
Oh yeah, a buddy of mine, when whatever age they're at, when they like start walking, we would go over to his house and his kid would start walking and like fall and like smack her head on the coffee table or something. And we'd be like, we'd just start laughing and she'd start laughing.
No, I'm reading John's comment.
That's only
hold
certain.
on.
That's seagulls, John.
I don't know if you guys pulled this one up. Miss Amber, it's okay.
Oh, you're fine.
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought that was only seagulls were the only ones because they can't regurgitate. So the alkyl cells, and it's the same with rats. That's a good rat poison if you can get them to eat it. But then you got to go clean up the exploded,
Yeah.
It was over there, and up there.
Yeah.
I still think it's funny watching the.
I know. Because what did they say? The chances of that happening were like
astronomical.
Oh yeah. Me and a buddy were at a bar. We were watching the Arizona Diamondbacks, and it was like the second or third year I think that they were in existence, And yeah, Johnson's up there and he throws that fastball in and poof, feathers. And me and him were just like, what the fuck? And ESPN just kept showing the replay, and like everybody in the bar is like,
exactly.
Right? Because when it happened, everybody was like, well, wait, what just happened?
yeah.
Like, what just happened?
It would have been even worse if the baseballer had actually hit both at the same time. If he hit the ball and the bird.
Oh yeah.
Could you imagine Peter after that?
Oh,
Peter would have had a field day with it, and unfortunately, there was nothing they could do about it.
how are you going to keep a bird from flying in?
Exactly. So,
PETA tried to get involved with the gentleman that here, I believe it was probably about 2 years ago, maybe 3 years ago. He had a young mountain lion attack him, and he was able to get on top of it and suffocate it with his bare hands.
I remember about that. Yeah.
He was attacked by a mountain lion,
yeah,
and PETA had a problem that he killed it
yeah,
because it was it wasn't a cub, but it was a juvenile.
Yeah.
Which,
yeah,
if anybody knows anything about mountain lions, juveniles are the ones that attack humans because they're desperate for food. They've been cut off by their
exactly.
family, so they become desperate and they'll go after a human.
Mm.
So they're not full
And
grown yet, and I think that's what actually saved him. But it's also the reason why he was attacked by it. And for the longest time, he didn't come out publicly, asked that his name not be released. But then when the wildlife investigation and stuff like that was over, it's public domain. So he came out right before that and told his story, and it's just like all these fucking like he didn't come out because there was all these freaking lovey-dovey or like save the animals. You didn't have to kill it. This is a predator
Well,
that just tried to kill him.
and I'm
And
all
you are
for.
more upset about the mountain lion more than the man
I'm
not
all.
coming home to his family.
I'm all for saving the animals, this and that, but we're encroaching on their territory. And so, hey, me or him, sorry, kitty. I love cats. I'd be like, that's how I'm going to die. I'd be like, oh, look at the big fuzzy murder mittens,
Yeah.
And,
okay. I've got to say it. Yes, I do know baseball, and my position was left, right, out.
That's what she said.
That's right out.
Think about it. I was left, right, out.
He was a bench warmer.
Oh, that's clever. That's
Wait a
clever.
minute.
My
I
brain
think
is
he's American.
tired. That is clever.
No, I used to actually play shortstop. So,
I was so good at baseball, they stuck me in right field.
yeah.
Yeah.
And only when you had left, if we had a left fielder,
Right.
a left swinger, that was the only time you really had to make sure.
my first year after T-ball, they tried to put me at catcher, and the fastball pitcher that was throwing it was like should have been college level, not like fucking grade school. And he whipped one in there, and it went over to the catcher's mitt, down my arm, hit my elbow, came up underneath my face mask, and like I almost bit my tongue off. And I was like, I'm done playing catcher. Put me out there where like nothing ever happens.
Yeah. Well, funnily enough, my mate over in Perth, he is now a nationally accredited softball umpire.
Nice.
He ended up he was umpiring. No, I am 6 foot. I am now 6 foot. When I was playing, I was still 6 foot. But my mate, he ended up being because he was getting softball as well as baseball, and he was umpiring behind the catcher of a female's game. The softball came through the catcher's legs, hit the dirt, and bounced up.
Yeah, I felt a similar pain.
Uh-huh. So you can imagine he was out for the rest of the day.
I was on a post softball team at Leonard Wood, and yeah, something similar to that happened to me. I'm trying to take a grounder, and the ball like took a weird bounce and hit me right in the nays, and I'm like, I'm taking a break for a while.
Nee.
They watch
Sorry.
me whip. They watch me nay.
I can see Uncle Si doing that too in his
He
kilt.
won't even do up my new video.
Jade, I can't dance. The hokey pokey literally comes with instructions. That's all it is, and I fucked that up.
Can you turn yourself about at least?
Hang on.
Yeah, everybody else is going left, and I'm going to the right.
No, I saw. So Boucher, like I talked to him from. He's been on with Sauce Boss, and that's pretty much when I started following him.
Yeah.
And then I saw that he did that trendy dance. What does that say?
He said the hokey pokey, so there we go.
but yeah, Felix did one of those too. He couldn't like stitch it to yours because of his tiki-taki band, but he can record a video and duet it. But you can't duet one with him. It's tiki-taki is being weird lately.
Yeah, because I did see.
Slide.
Okay, Audie, only if I have enough fucking alcohol in me can I electric slide, and then I still screw that up.
Myself and Boss have been like, no, we're not going to be doing dances on or doing the TikTok dances. We're not going to do it. But and I did kind of like tap into Kitten's moves with Fiegel the other night for Teenage Dirtbag.
That was well, and having the flying squirrel outfit was
that's exactly it. I was like, oh, okay, because you can't really see, but you see a little.
Well, and it was cool for what it was for. The guy that did that being in the wheelchair, that was way cool.
Well, I'm talking about the Teenage Dirtbag with Fiegel, and then when I saw Boucher do it, because he has the one amputation leg, that he was doing it from his wheelchair, that I'm just like, okay, I just want to like encourage him to be like, it's awesome that you did that, because like with Teenage Dirtbag, that wasn't a TikTok dance, but that was dancing on TikTok.
Right.
Versus Boucher, like, I did a TikTok dance, and so did Sauce Boss.
I finally learned the one that goes when the sun goes down.
That's what I did with him.
That's basically what it is.
I finally learned that one. Finally. It took me a while. I was like, I figured it out.
I finally like the I fuck it up again.
Like I can do it. I just don't know what to do with it. So I learned them.
That's what I know. Like I learned the movements, and I'm like, yeah, I finally like hand-eye coordination on point. Yay! Now what do I make it about? Because nobody asked,
but at least I learned it.
Yeah. Because that one, the crazy one was like the twerk. Like I was trying to learn that, just the hand movements. It's like that darling, the ones that twerk, whatever. I lost the top of my pen. It flew off. I still have no idea where the little refill part
disappeared.
Because I had it in my hand while I was trying to just watching the video, trying to mimic the movements, and it just still can't find it, even though I haven't used a pen in months. But so I was like 2 months without my pen, and then when I went and saw Kyle, I was using my pen for about a week and a half that week, and then I haven't had it since. And that was when did Kyle come through? When was Kyle in Vegas?
Last month.
think last month.
Oh, John, I got some stories. We were active
That's about
duty.
it.
We were
Yeah.
we were
But anyway, like ever since pretty much since that week that he has been here, I haven't used my pen anyway. Still, but I still haven't yet to find that top of that pen.
and yeah, Whittorf, we were active duty up at Fort McCoy, Wisconsin, which was like great. We were doing like World War II officer barracks, which was cool, but you still had to walk down the hall to go to the train, right? Anywho, we're at the motor pool one day, and we had the old chain doors that you had to use the chain to raise up and down on the garage doors. And he's freaking doing this, and all of a sudden we hear boom, bang. we duck around the truck, and he's laying flat on his back, just twitching like this. Apparently, lightning had hit the building and traveled down through the chain and through him. Yeah, he went home early that day.
Sounds electrifying.
Yeah. All right. Me playing with electricity in the Navy.
Oh, this has got to be fun.
Well, what it was my action station was aft steering on the Anzac class. So I had our PT, so our physical trainer, opposite me, and we had the what we would call green team, so our major training association on the ship. The big issue for me is because I had really good hearing, I could hear most things coming through sound-powered radio. I didn't alert anyone that I knew what was coming. I was watching the green team member come down, and he had a little flashbang next to me. I didn't make any reaction to it from the towards the PTI. we had our nice little electrical panel next to me, and I'm standing up, I'm moving around, just making it look like I'm doing things, and then the little flashbang goes off next to me. I throw myself against the electrical panel, which moves the electrical panel and swings, and I fall to the floor. My PT turns around, freaks out, goes, "Oh my God, he is dead," on sound-powered radio. To which then on my sound-powered circuit, you just hear me piss myself laughing. And the green team member has poked his head around the corner to the PT and turned around. He's gone, "Well, that's the first time I've ever seen a PT turn around and say during an exercise, 'Oh my God, he's dead.'" Because I did it with such ferocity,
Right.
that she freaked out. She thought it was an actual safeguard event.
We figured out, like, you remember those old cameras that you could like disposable, and you buy. Well,
Yes.
if you take the flash out and you charge it and you toss it to somebody, they get discharged and they get shocked.
Yep.
Now hold on. Here's another story, and Audie can attest to this one. On a M113 all personnel carrier, the tank, right? They have a similar capacitor, and you pull that off and toss it to somebody. Somebody tosses you something? What's the first thing? You catch it. I've seen guys literally seize up after catching this thing. I don't know how many amps. It's like getting nailed with a taser, and they just go, "Ugh!"
Oh no.
You know, motor pool tricks. It's like, "Hey, catch this." What? Oh. Then, you know, you pick them up and you're like, "Hey, that was funny. Welcome to the unit." You know?
Yeah, exactly. The sad thing for me is whenever people used to throw things at me, I used to swat it with the back of my hand. unless I turned around and said, throw that to me. And usually I would see what was coming. Then if it wasn't what I asked for, I'd swat it back at him.
I learned really quickly, like when somebody tosses something at you in combat engineer units, you kind of do like this and slide out of the way. You know, you never know what's coming at you. It could be C4, could be a capacitor. You never know.
I wanted to pull this up. She's like qualified
Well,
electrician.
and oddly enough,
I
Whitworth,
shocked myself plugging my phone in. So I let y'all deal with the electrical.
and oddly enough, Whitworth, the capacitor that I'm talking about is right next to the fuel tank. It's like literally 6 inches away from a fuel tank in the 113. I'm like, that's a great place to have that. Yeah.
Here in Australia, we're playing around with 240 volts every day.
Yeah, we get up
That is
440, 220, or
Yeah.
440, 220, 115.
Yeah, 110, 115. Yeah. Audie, you used to shock yourself all the time, bro. You'd come back into the freaking pooch and tell me about something. You're like, dang, I got zapped again. And I'm like, how? You know, okay, once is an accident, twice is a mistake, 3 times you're doing it on purpose. You know, you enjoy it at this point now, Audie. You're like,
I used to come back past the green team members, so the training guys, and I would deliberately hold on to one part of the ship that would charge me up. I'd walk past one of the green team members that I knew because he had a beard about the same length as Uncle Size, and I'd come past and I'd just shock him on the back of the ear. So you can imagine, I'd end up just touching him really lightly, and the little shockwave would just zap him across the ear. In which it would usually end up being him go, ah! I had too much fun, and that's the thing.
Did you show your shirt while we've been live? Or was that before? Did you show your shirt while we've been live, or was that before?
oh, that was before. Yeah.
That was before. Time to show a shirt.
Show it up. Yes.
If my chair will stop moving.
She's
That's
so
awesome.
excited.
Up a bit more.
Kittens
I can't.
riding dinosaurs
can't.
with the pew-pews. She's going to fall out of her chair.
Well, and one of them's got like a Gatling gun mounted on the T-Rex. I love that. You know,
Yeah.
a little mini gun. Let's
maybe
go.
if I push the chair back, it'll let me.
There we go.
I know. I always feel weird, like, when somebody wanted to read this shirt. It's like,
It's easier for me because it's Viking.
Well, and if
And
it's just up top by the shoulders, it's easy. But when you have something that's designed all the way down the shirt, and you're trying to like stand in front of the camera, it's like.
Well, funnily enough, the shirt that I'm wearing now with the barcode, I just realised that he's got the barcode on the pants that I bought as well. The worst thing is where the barcode is, it's on the back of the shin. And it's only in one spot. So you think, oh, okay, so that's obviously for the back of the leg. And it's like, oh, yep, okay. No, it's the barcode.
At least it's not on the butt crack.
Right.
That would almost be funny as snot, though.
Or on the front part of your thigh, where it looks like you're leaning to the left or the right.
Shorts out that has it on the cheek.
Oh no.
And that's the problem, is he's got it on the cheek.
Right cheek, left cheek.
So you actually have to read it like Braille going down the cheek.
Just sit there.
Then you can tell them, hey, honey, you got to start that again. You're reading it backwards.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. My son, I was trying to tell him to get into the. I was like, you can take a shower early. He's like, Mom, it's like nobody takes a shower this early in the morning. Like, it's not morning. You already went to school. It's like, it's not morning. It's almost dinner time. It's like, it's after 4. And he's like, "Who eats dinner that early?" And it was like, "Well, you can technically call it supper." And he's like, "Who's British?" And he said it just like that. He didn't say British. He said British. Who's British? And then he runs out of the room like, I swear that the sassiness of this child, especially in the mornings, I'm just gonna where the chancla has been given been very close by.
There was a TikTok video of a guy, a dad, and like literally like 20 feet away in their house down the hallway, the boy is running away, and you just see him going, and it's like nobody escapes the chancla, and he flings that thing down the hallway, hits the kid in the back of the head. The kid stumbles, stops, looks, and just takes off.
I sent that to you.
Yeah.
I sent that one to you.
Oh man, that I've watched that like
No,
at least a dozen times. It's
You
hilarious.
don't escape the chancla. You don't.
No.
You don't.
Uh-uh.
That is the one thing I can chuck across the house with accuracy, like every time.
Well, I don't know if you guys remember, Eddie Murphy did a stand-up comedy deal in a full
Yes, raw.
Michael Jackson red leather outfit, and he was
It's-
talking about how his mom could use a high heel shoe like a boomerang. You'd be like out in the front yard, she's in the back of the house in the kitchen, and you'd hear.
Yes, that is Eddie Murphy's Raw.
I swear, like y'all froze up. Y'all froze up. Did I freeze?
No,
No.
that's Eddie Murphy's Raw, and I think the best part is when he's talking about the Delirious is the one where he's going down the street, and he's got the gay guys sitting on top of the car going, "Woo! Pull over, pull over."
Man, Eddie Murphy could not get away with half of stuff he did back in the day.
Back in the 80s was his marvelous time.
80s comedians, 80s, early 90s comedians. They can't get away with that shit now.
Oh yeah.
It's like, look at freaking Eminem. They try to cancel Eminem for a song that made him freaking who he is back then.
Exactly.
It's like, and you really think that Eminem's gonna give a fuck? No.
If anything, he'll rap a song about how much
did.
fucks he actually gets.
He did.
make
Yeah.
a song like,
He
"Well, I
did?
don't give a
Yeah.
fuck." Yeah.
He did. Yeah.
Hey, John, I have no problem in saying that I'm a fanboy of Eddie Murphy. It's a bit like me watching, God rest his soul, Robin Williams.
Yeah,
I've been
I
thinking
like
Oh,
about him a lot lately.
I've rewatched. I catch myself going to YouTube and rewatching Robin Williams. I think it was over in the Stan or Iraq, where he's doing a
Yep.
comedy skit, and like reveille goes off. Everybody stops, stands up, turns, and he's like,
What the hell
And
happened?
nobody warned him that this
Yeah.
happened.
"Yeah." He's like, "What
So-
the?" Yeah, he's just on stage after it happens, and he's like, "Holy fuck!" When you see the whole military stand up and face the other way, you get a little nervous, you know.
Exactly. Because like in all honesty, like nobody warned you about it. You already know that you're in a combat zone. You're surrounded by all these military members from all the branches and I'm sure countries too were involved.
Oh yeah.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And
But
then
yeah,
all of a sudden, like you're in the middle of a sentence, you hear something that you don't know what it is, and your
Yeah.
entire audience stands up, turns around, like your entire military audience in a combat zone stands up, turns around, and goes to the same direction. Would you not freak the fuck out?
Oh,
He was amazing because he
You
went,
can see him go.
well,
he was respectful. He
yeah,
was respectful. He didn't
exactly, he
interrupt it. He didn't talk or anything like that. He but seriously, how would you feel?
Yeah, he handled that totally respectful for a civilian. He was just like, okay, these guys are quiet, facing that way. I should probably do the same thing. And then after it was done, he was like, "What the fuck was that?" You know?
He knew to wait. He knew to wait
Yes.
without even knowing exactly to do so. He knew to wait, which was he was an amazing soul. I wish.
Yes. And unfortunately, the year that he passed is the worst year for Australia as well, because we ended up having Robin Williams die, and then a week later we had one of our most iconic V8, so our V8 race car drivers pass away as well.
Oh,
His name
wow.
was Peter Brock.
I've heard of him. I've heard of him. Yeah.
I was gonna say Cy would be the one to know.
I
or
watched
Yeah.
a lot of
recognize
racing.
him.
Yeah. I've heard of him.
I'm not trying to be disrespectful. I don't
Yeah.
recognize the name.
No, Peter Brock was iconic for a long time in V8 racing.
Yeah.
And yeah, it was amazing. And unfortunately, he passed away doing what he loved. He passed away from driving. So, but yeah, at the moment, well, there's so many actors and everything else. And yeah, it was just amazing to think that the ones that are usually trying to make you laugh the most are the ones that are probably needing a lot more support than you realize.
Well, that's kind of what to at least get people to realize they're not alone. You know, we all have bad days, you know.
Well, and it's
Yeah.
even like with Chester Bennington, where people are just like, I don't understand how he could be depressed. He has everything. He's got a beautiful wife. He's got kids. He's famous. He does what he loves to do and stuff like that. And it's just like, that's what is wrong, or that's the problem with it. Is that
and it's not
it can affect anyone. It doesn't
Yeah.
Yeah.
it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you have all this money. It doesn't matter if you're homeless. It doesn't matter. Mental health affects everyone, and that's something that we continue to shine a light on, and we tell, when we find resources that we find credible and stuff like that, we recommend them to y'all. And that's
Exactly.
the best thing. It's like we're very accepting. We're very, like open to hearing you out. Know that none of us are registered counselors or professionals in any such way. So we like, as far as like that goes, like, we're just human. We're just veterans that like want to reach out, because
Yeah.
this is therapy to us as well.
Oh, this is my therapy. I don't deal with the VA anymore because I'm tired of telling my story every 6 months to a different person.
Yeah.
You know, so I don't do that anymore. I do the yearly physicals and I get my, heartburn medicine from them, and that's it. This is my therapy. Talking to you guys, and I feel so much better. 2 hours, and I feel so much better for the rest of the week.
Absolutely. And that's the big issue is nowadays there's just so much going around that you just can't stop. So,
yeah.
Mind you, I do have to ask one question. How's everyone feeling after last Saturday?
I have mixed feelings. It was a solemn day, not a sad day. It was a day of remembrance, and it was a day that changed the world, not just the United States. It changed the world.
Yeah.
And we're never going to be able to go back to before.
No. Well,
But
that's the thing
we can make it what it was.
That's the thing is my father ended up getting a poster that is still hanging up in the Adelaide Metropolitan Fire Service hall. And it actually has all of the firefighters that passed away that day, and their photos and their numbers, everything, including the Twin Towers as they were falling.
Nice.
And that was one thing. That was one thing that he turned around, and that was the one day. So 20 years ago, that was the first time I'd ever seen my dad actually break down. And he had been through so many things before then, but that was the first day he completely stopped and he couldn't go to work. He just turned around, rang up and said, "No, I can't deal with it." And then because he was working with the media, a lot of the media were ringing him going, "Hey, we need an interview." And he's like, "Not today. Out of respect, not today."
Yeah.
And I still remember that day. I remember waking up and going, "Hey, what's going on?" And then he's gone, "This is what's going on." And I've gone, shit, okay, well, I'm going off to work, sorry. And I took off. I came home and it was still running. And he's just turned around, he's gone, this is what's going on in the world.
Yeah.
And it affected him majorly. And he just broke. That pretty much broke him. And then 6 years later, he got forced out of the fire service. So, but that's due to something else, thanks to the media and his hierarchy not liking what he was doing with the media. So, but yeah, no, it definitely helped not assimilate, but definitely brought the world together. And there's just still so many things that we don't know. And unfortunately, I don't think we're going to know. So, sorry to bring that mood down, but I thought I'll check in.
No, it's awesome because,
Yeah.
it's like with Michael, like how he was on like the ship phones, everything turned off. They were isolated when all this was happening. It's like, especially because he has, like he said, he's got family that was in New York and like near the crash site in PA. And it's just like, I was 15 and I can remember going from the cafeteria, going to my drafting class, the drafting class teacher coming in and moving us into the photography room, the TV on the stand. They had like the freaking strap stand thing.
I used to love those days. The freaking cart got wheeled in. You had the TV on.
Yeah, like we always associated that with a good thing, and until that day.
Yeah.
And we're sitting on these, like my friend and I, because like being upper class, she was upperclassman. Me and her were sitting together, even though we weren't in class together. She was in photography and I was in drafting, and we were in the same classroom. And me and her were just sitting there, and we're just like, we're watching a movie, right?
Yeah.
This isn't real, right?
Yeah, and that's a lot of the time. A lot of people were thinking it was a movie.
Yeah.
So
I was out in Arizona. I was living with Audie. I called him up. I'm like, hey, can I come hang? He's like, sure. I'm like, hey, I got a buddy. Sure. He's got a big Rottweiler. Hold on. Yeah. Yeah, the wife says you could bring the dog. I'm like, cool. So I'd been out there for a couple months with him, and he was working at someplace else because I think he was still driving semi at the time. And like I woke up, went to work, and I'm sitting there waiting for the boss to come in to unlock the doors. He finally pulls up, and I'm like, dude, what the hell? He goes, you ain't heard? I'm like, heard what? And we went in, he turned the radio on, and we were sitting there just listening to the radio. He goes, dude, I don't think nobody's coming in today. Let's lock up, go home. Cool. Stopped, got a 12-pack, went back to the house, sat there and watched CNN for the rest of the day,
Yeah, and that's exactly it. It was all live. It was almost live footage here in Australia for us as we were watching it and everything. And I just remember Dad just being quiet, and that was the scary part. I'd never seen him actually refuse an interview until that day.
Wow. Yeah.
So, and that was the really weird part. Well, that was what struck me is, hang on, Dad's usually the one that's going out trying to get them to know about it. So
I'm going to totally change the mood because I have a question for Jade and Cuddling Kittens. This is going to sound really weird, and don't forget,
this can get interesting.
Don't forget, I'm an only child. I'm sheltered.
We're preparing for this.
Okay, so I didn't grow up with sisters and brothers. We didn't have a lot of friends. My friends didn't have sisters, and the few that I had. And okay, you know how like when you're on an airplane flight and the altitude makes your feet swell, right? So like if you take off your shoes when you land, you try to put them back on, they're tight.
Are you about to ask me if my boobs swell too?
We do have a child watching.
Well, because like when
Yeah,
we flew,
exactly, Missy.
when we flew to Kuwait or Korea and stuff, like, you take your shoes off on a 12, 16-hour flight, and then you try to put them back on and they're tight. I'm just wondering if that has the same effect on women's body parts as.
I don't understand this
Is
whole
there
foot swelling
so
thing.
the reason why your legs do that is because the blood pools in your legs. So if you flex your legs and you move your legs around, they won't swell like that.
Okay, well, back to my question.
Mythbusters.
The boobs
Mythbusters in season 1.
the boobs aren't getting a lot of movement on an airplane. Just saying.
They're mostly fat tissue, bro.
Okay, I didn't know that. Like I said, I'm naive and sheltered. I just like playing with them. I don't know what they're made of.
You can Google works, Uncle Si. You open up your web browser, you type in www.google.com, and then you can ask your question.
The problem will be is he'll type in the wrong thing and it'll take him to a porn site.
And
Yeah.
he'll be completely satisfied for the rest of the day.
Yeah.
I hate to report. I think I've run out of XNXX stuff to watch because there's like nothing interesting anymore.
Well, that's a sign that you've got over the hill.
Sorry, Miss Amber.
Sorry, Amber. My bad. You've seen the show a few times.
Send your angry dad my way.
I have oddball questions because of my lack of experience. Yeah.
Well, and I know that you kind of picked it up, picked up the subject and stuff like that. But I did want to say it was like Saturday. I had a reflection of like our oldest and our middle is now going to the same high school that I went to, where I witnessed all that. So it's kind of like reflecting on it. It's like they're in those same hallways where the world changed for me, for everybody.
Yeah.
And and another thing too is like, so there was something that I didn't know, and it was brought to my attention, is like, so the millennials were affected by this the most, as far as we were children when it happened.
Mhm.
And 9/11 happened, and it like our complete change into adulthood, whether was changed, and no generation can say that, because the generation before us were already pretty much adults, young adults. But the millennial generation, we're still, getting into adult, like coming up to the cusp of adulthood or younger, and had that happen. So it's like the millennials will always have a before 9/11 life and an after 9/11 life. Like I know everybody will, but do y'all get what I'm like?
Yeah.
Trying to say, as far as childhood goes.
It's kind of like for me in school, the thing, like my dad remembers like JFK being assassinated, and he'll tell me that, like being in school and like the teachers turning the TV on and they're like, what's going on? I remember when I think it was, which space shuttle blew up. I remember
Challenger,
that.
I think it
the
was
Challenger. Yeah, that was like that was my TV
your
moment
9/11.
in school. Yeah. And so that kind of, everybody was like, I ain't being no astronaut. Fuck all that. Them guys, no, but like then your generation had 9/11, and I hope there's not another thing for your guys' kids to watch,
Well, and that's exactly what it, like with everything that happened with this year, what's going on and stuff like that, the significance of what happened last month. There is a possibility that my child, or possibly my grandchild, will be in the same situation that I was 20 years ago.
Well, okay, a 20-year war. We've had people that weren't even born that then joined and went and fight.
Well,
You know,
I've seen it too. It's like there's been plenty
yeah.
of TikToks where they're like, where were you when 9/11 happened?" And they're like, "Oh, high school. Oh, elementary. Oh, uh, I was a couple years old." Then there's the soldiers that were like, "I wasn't born yet." They're serving now, and they weren't even born when 9/11 happened, and they're serving at a time,
Yeah.
and that's just like it's mind baffling. Oh, and there was this other thing too. This is I'm not trying to keep the tone down or anything like that, but it's also like so when I was overseas in 2008, we got letters from kids.
Oh, I
Yeah,
hate those. I've got a bad story about one of them.
but it was just so these kids that are like, "Oh, we love that you're a soldier. Stay safe." Like, like just these little kids that were drawing and making pictures for soldiers overseas. They're old enough to be the ones that were in Kabul.
Right. Totally.
The
I,
kids that are serving overseas right now were probably the kids that
that
were writing letters
to the troops. Yeah.
to the troops
First
that
time.
that not started the war, but were part of the early parts.
First time I went to Kuwait, we got a USO box from like a 5th grade class somewhere in, I don't know, BFE freaking America. And we're over in Kuwait and we're like, little kids sending us stuff. And I open mine up, random pick out of a box. I open mine up and it starts out with, "Dear GI, I hope you die. Why do you have to kill people? My dad and mom say killing people is bad." And I'm sitting there in Kuwait reading this going,
How
anybody?
the fuck did that get through?
I'm like,
Nobody
exactly.
read that?
Teachers should check these things going to soldiers, and
That's
they
what
don't.
they're
They just,
supposed to do.
and this was back like before 9/11 happened. This was like during Desert Shield, Desert Storm drawdown stuff.
They're pretty much like same. Their parents were the ones spitting on Vietnam soldiers as they came home.
Pretty much. So
And
now
that
their
got
kid
through.
is following the tradition, and I'm sitting there in the tent going, "The fuck do I reply to this?"
You burn it.
I just threw it away. I was like, "Let me
You burn
try
it,
another one."
and you pray for the well-being of their family and hope that nothing ever bad happens to them because
Well,
that that's a karma situation for me because
I realized at that point with that letter, I realized that the reason I was in the military was for people just like them, because they weren't going to do what we were doing. They were going to just sit back and take whatever came at them, where we were going out and trying to help and preserve our way of life so that they can be dickheads and dickettes.
Yeah. Well, that's exactly it. Is there's so many cases now where they were saying, "Oh, bring the troops home, bring the troops home."
Yeah.
And now that they've brought the troops home, they're going, "Oh, we need to send them back." And it's like, well, you can't have it both ways, either one or the other. And there's so many people now jumping up and down going, "Oh, we need to go rescue these people." Oh, I'm sorry, but weren't you the same one that was saying we need to get the troops out?
Well, and a lot is coming out now where like Biden heard from advisors in the military, "Look, sir, you're doing it wrong. We need to do this, this, this." And Biden's like, "No, I want to do this."
Yeah.
And a lot of that is coming out. I'm just saying, we're not political.
Yeah.
But it is. But just to say, we've talked about Kabul and the things that happened in Kabul. Yes, and that's not political to me. We are going to leave the administration out and how things went and stuff like that. We're not going to do that.
Yeah.
I have my opinions and I have my strong feelings on certain things, but I'm not going to. Let's not.
Yeah.
So what I was talking about, or what I was going to bring up, is the fact that I saw even on TikTok and stuff like that, these kids that were pretty much saying the same shit about Vietnam soldiers before Kabul happened.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, you're all baby killers, stuff like that, until Kabul happened. The tone changed a bit when they realized, oh, Well, these actually are like young 20-year-olds, you know,
Yeah.
Yeah.
kids. These are America's kids that are actually the ones that are over there. This person is somebody one of my friends' older brothers or sisters, you know? Like, oh, reality kind of set in on that. So I haven't seen it. I'm not saying that it's not out there, but I haven't seen as much as like the whole like trolling thing, the whole trendy thing of calling soldiers baby killers.
I remember coming back from Desert Shield, Desert Storm, and we were doing a town parade, but we had to come through the airport before we did the parade dealy. And there were people, maybe only like 5 or 6, but they were yelling and chanting, no more war, blah blah blah, peace, not.
Yeah. I'm glad that here in Australia that there are protests and things like that, but I haven't myself, main reason because I was in the Navy, where we pull in was actually on a separate island and no one could really get to us. But I'm glad that we didn't really have to see that. Whereas if I was over in Sydney and things like that, so
Right.
Sydney, they've got straight off of the heads underneath or near, very close to the bridge. That's where our base is over there. And that's where a lot of protests happen. I'm glad that I never actually lived over in Sydney because I would hate for my kids to have been affected by that, of seeing all of these protests and everything else. So, but in saying that about the Navy, there was a report that came out this last night.
I wanted you to bring this up.
Yep.
What?
That the Australian government has now axed the diesel submarine project that was going to be happening with France, and a new project is going to be on the books fairly soon with the United States as well as Britain.
Oh,
So
interesting.
it's going to be a very interesting few years. Watch this space. I'm going to be keeping a very close eye on it. And when items come out about it, I'll let you guys know anyway. But yes, it definitely seems like we are no longer going diesels.
Oh, and Jen or Cricket, we missed something so far. It's almost 2 hours and we haven't
I know
shown it.
I was about to bring that up, but I just saw.
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I thought that that's very interesting, and that's what's happening in Australia at the moment.
Nice.
It sounds like we are no longer going diesel.
So are you guys getting rid of fossil fuel completely and going solar and eating granola and wearing Birkenstocks, or what the heck?
No, that's not what he's talking
No,
about.
we are going with the heating system of the ocean.
Oh, interesting. It's got some. I've seen some good. I watch a lot of Discovery Channel and National Geographics and stuff like that, so I see a lot of innovation and stuff. So it's an interesting idea. I don't know if it'll work.
Well, yeah, definitely.
We all have
But also, I've also just finished I watched episode 4 of Vigil, which is on Binge here in Australia. It's a BBC show called Vigil. It's all about the nuclear sub-deterrent over there. So, yeah, that was a very interesting 4 parts so far. And
that
I'll
might
definitely...
be Hulu, maybe here.
Possibly. Yeah, definitely.
I wouldn't think Netflix. I'm gonna
Yeah.
pull up the screen. I'm gonna pull up the slide real quick. Let it introduce or talk about a couple of our other shows. Then we will do our last and final thoughts.
Definitely.
I know we are at the top of the hour. So we were Veterans Anonymous, the network. We're available twitch.tv/vetsanon, YouTube/Veterans Anonymous, which I say go and follow especially if you want to find other or older shows that's where you're going to find it, because on our Facebook, which is Facebook Veterans Anonymous 22, our live streams only stay up for a certain amount of time. So, like I said, if you want to go back, find an older show or whatnot, you could do so on our YouTube. So on Tuesday nights, you have Scramjet with W, Uncle Si, Miss Kittens, Traitor. Just kidding. And the American as he can pop in, because the American's going to be popping in between Scramjet and Crossroads as he can, because he's a busy man. He's got to do his business.
Well, no, he's basically banned from social
Oh,
media right
and
now.
right now, yeah, right now it's a little weird, but you can catch us here every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. W with this damn slide on Central. I'm going to nix it myself. Combat Cricket, Cuddle, and Kittens, Uncle Si, and like I said, the American as he can pop in, and our loyal guest Ducky is always welcome.
Always.
Thursday nights. Huh. They claim it to be the best show, and it's debatable. We debate every week, but we are coming in every Thursday night, and they typically will give your safety brief, because two Marines giving a safety brief
What
was
could go
the
wrong?
best idea ever. Which you can catch Tommy Indifferent and full baby Jesus. What the hell? Real baby Jesus. On Full Metal Crayon Eaters, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Thursday. We do have this link up because Mr. Kyle Killinger, our full, which is real baby Jesus, is currently running over 3,000 miles across America to raise veteran suicide awareness to veteran suicide. Mother bitches. Obviously, it's the end of the night. But if you will, go check out his Facebook. You can catch his journey. They're posting his routes, and like with his Venmo and stuff like that. If you can't donate, we ask you to at least share the link, because that would be amazing, and we love amazing people. You can also email us with like pictures and stuff like that if you have organizations you want us to check out. veteransanonymous22@gmail.com. So we are at the end of the show. Nose goes Ducky. Final thoughts, good sir.
Final thoughts. Hopefully, over the next couple of weeks, I will be able to show you some Australian wildlife in the wild. I'm going to be going out trying to find our marvelous koalas, drop bears, hopefully a couple of snakes.
Lions and
No
tigers and
groups.
bears. Oh my.
Exactly. But no, final thought is it's marvelous to be able to connect to people from all over the world. If we didn't have this media platform, we would not be able to have these very frank chats. So thank you very much for having me again.
Always welcome, like I said before. Like, you're a loyal attendee. I know as you work and stuff like that, and being on the opposite side of the world, it's
Yeah.
amazing that you're
Well, not only
it's
the
amazing that you
opposite,
make it.
not only the opposite side of the world, the underneath side of the world too. Yeah, you knew where I was
One
going
of
with.
these days, I'm gonna have to or you're just gonna have to turn your camera upside down, like just one show.
I'd have to turn the laptop upside down, and it doesn't work.
That's what I'm saying.
No.
So I would have to
Self-rights.
figure out to like.
You
either
you
flip
can
your-
go into the settings and turn off self-right. So when you flip it over, it stays
We'll
upside
figure
down.
it out. Uncle Si, you're next. Final thoughts, good sir.
Final thoughts, like I always say, reach out, and if the person you reach out to doesn't answer or doesn't reply, reach out to somebody else, because they might be reaching out. You never know what somebody else is going through. Sometimes they're just not in the headspace and timing to respond to you. Keep reaching out. You never know. Don't think you're alone. We know people that do metal detecting. We know people that make sauces. We know Australians. Somebody around this little network of ours is going to know somebody that can help you. So, just keep reaching out. And I got one thing for Ducky. Don't go live when you go out looking for wildlife, because I would hate to see a Facebook Live or something where he's like, "Oh, look at the fuzzy koala," and then blood and guts is everywhere. So don't do that.
Facebook would definitely not let that stay on. You're giving him ideas.
Don't give me ideas already.
The one time in history ever a koala bloody attack, and it's caught on Facebook Live.
Right? Yeah. So
Or
yeah.
Instagram.
Final thoughts, good lady.
Take care of yourself. Make sure you're eating. Make sure you're properly hydrating. Taking your Skittles if you have them. Getting your health care that you need. And take some time for some hobbies. A healthy work-life balance will help. Yes, make sure you're showering. It's the little things. It's the little things in life.
No, his cat just farted underneath him.
Nah, Jen said that last night, and I did my. And then
I know, but
people were like, "Oh, it's Uncle Sniffy or Uncle Smelly."
Uncle Snippy.
yeah, it was sniffy.
Snippy.
Yes, it is the little things, and like I was saying before, like back to not being able to speak. It's the end of the night, y'all. But yes, reach out. Like I said, best way to do it, like if you're going to reach out on Facebook, message our Facebook page, because that's going to hit all of us, and whoever's available will hopefully be available to respond to you. And like I said, if like I might not be your cup of tea, but if I'm the one that's responding, I will find you who will help you. Ducky has said it before, he's up during when we're normally asleep, so he said he is available throughout the night because that's his daytime. Like I said, we need to like flip his camera or do something funny. Just one time.
One time. And yeah, you're not a cup of tea. You're more of a margarita, I think.
With a little bit of spice.
A little bit of spicy.
I'm just a mojito.
Was it the Bacardi mojito? All right, I'm done. Well, catch us next week here on the Crossroads. Love y'all.
Thank you.